Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, teacher. How are you today?
Not so bad, not so good. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. Okay, people, welcome everybody. Are you guys ready? All right. Okay, not a problem. Okay, people. So now we are going to start with the feedback of would rather. Okay, would rather. I sent a video for you to practice the pronunciation of these two words. Your pronunciation will determine how correct you are when you ask, right? And it will be more more, let's say, legible, talking about pronunciation for people, and they can understand better, okay? Also, you will be able to understand when someone tells you the words would rather, and you see that it's important for us to know that there are contractions, and when we speak, we use contractions as many times as we can, right? So we are going to be careful with the pronunciation of these two words, right? Would, rather, it sounds, right? TH sound, it's voiced sound. Okay, so now let's remember what would rather means. What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, it means that you prefer something to another thing, right? And there are different ways in English. There are different ways in English to express your preferences or what people prefer. What are the preferences in the market, for example, or what you are deciding to do instead of doing a different thing. There are lots of ways to express this because you can use the verb prefer, but you can also use this expression, would rather, would rather. So just as a manner of feedback, we defined that the meaning of would rather is to express what are your preferences, okay? What your preferences are. So allow me to show this just to remember the contractions, and remember that when we see these contractions, they are unique. There are no other contraction in this way. So you won't find any other auxiliary that is contracted with the letter D. So I'd, you would know that it is would. Okay, you will know. She'd rather. He'd rather. It would rather. And then another verb. They'd rather. We'd rather. You'd rather. Okay. And we saw that the pronunciation is really important, because if I say I rather, I'm not saying the same thing, right? If I say she rather, it's not the same thing as a conditional, right? Using the would. This is an auxiliary verb, but it is conditional, okay? That's why when we translate this, es preferiría. Ahora, si yo digo, yo prefiero en tiempo presente simple o algo que toda la vida es mi preferencia, then I use the verb prefer. Okay, ahí mejor utilizo el verbo prefer. Pero este es un condicional, ¿verdad? Este es como para decidir o condicionar, sí, entre dos opciones o más opciones, ¿verdad? De cuáles sean mis preferencias. Entonces, tiene que ir would rather para hacer un condicional, ¿verdad? De preferencias. Entonces, es muy importante que veamos entonces que existen otras maneras de decir las preferencias, ¿verdad? Como les estaba diciendo, tenemos el verbo prefer. As I was saying, we have the verb prefer. So we can use prefer to do with an infinitive with the particle to, and prefer with a verb with ing verb form, with the ing verb form. So those are interchangeable, even though one is to say that I prefer something, and the other says that I prefer to do something else, okay? For example, like this, right? I prefer something. Yeah, so I will say, I prefer to something else, right? I prefer to, aquí iría un verbo, sí, un verbo como acá, ¿verdad? Como prefer to do, prefer to walk. I prefer drive. I prefer to drive, okay? I prefer to drive. Prefiero entonces decirlo con el ing, porque voy a hacer una comparación. ¿Sí? I prefer driving to walking, okay? Y no vamos a decir con el verbo prefer, como decimos con would rather than, ¿verdad? Aquí en vez de than, vamos a usar to. Entonces, I prefer something to something else, right? I prefer doing something to doing something else, pero también, ¿verdad? Pero también, I prefer to do something rather than do something, okay? I can combine these things. I can combine these things. But today, we're just studying the structures of would rather, okay? Would rather. And we can use this in the negative form, and also we can ask questions at the same time that we can answer these questions. This is what we are studying today. I'm just referring that you can express the same thing, okay, in a different way using the verb prefer, okay? Then when we talk about preferences, here we've got some examples, all right? I'd rather you didn't, but this is the negative thing, okay? This is the negative thing, and we have a past tense in this structure. Ayer veíamos que El verbo que usábamos era presente. Yesterday, the verb that we used, it was the present tense, okay? It was the present tense without the particle to, okay? In that simple verb form. But when we prefer that someone else do something or not doing something, then we use the past tense, okay? We use the past tense. We have, for example, in the negative way in the past, we use didn't to say the negative, right? So I'd rather you didn't tell anyone what I said. I'd rather you didn't tell, que no le dijeras, ¿verdad? Subjunctive, el subjuntivo, ¿verdad? Aquí no nos está dando la idea de pasado. Aquí nos va a dar la idea de un pasado posible, ¿verdad? De un futuro posible, ¿ok? A possible future. Podríamos decir que hasta imaginario. We could say that this is until probable, right? Probable. Because it's like a conditional too. And we use would in that way. That's the meaning, or that's the affection it has to the verb, okay? When we use would with a verb, we add the meaning of a conditional. So this is the same case. You are adding the conditional meaning. So you can use this in negative and affirmative and questions. But remember that if you prefer that someone else do something or not to do something, then you're going to use the past tense instead of that present simple, as we saw yesterday when we were deciding for ourselves, right? Or for only one person in the action, doing the action. So let's see, for example, this other example. This is very formal language, okay, what we're reading here. And shall I tell Linda what happened? And then the answer, I'd rather you didn't. Okay, I'd rather you didn't. So when we involve a second person to do something, then I use the past tense. Okay, then I use the past tense. All right. But we are going to go back to the structure that it's important for us in this level, okay? I was just doing the reference for you to know, FYI, right? For your knowledge, right? So, for your interest. I'm sorry? For your information, yes, that's true, FYI. Okay, then we have the examples we saw yesterday. Would you rather give your speech in English or French? Would you rather give your speech in English or French? Okay, then we have right here the verb in present, okay? The verb in present. There is no other person involved, right? There is no other person involved, just you. Yeah, not she, not I, nobody else is doing the action that you prefer. Just you, so we use present simple. I'd rather give. After rather, we're going to use the simple verb form, not the one that takes to give, right? Or giving, just give. I'd rather give my speech in English than French, okay? Then I can ask you, for example, would you rather learn English in the UK or in the US? I'd rather learn English in the US. Okay, what about the last one? It says, would you rather be a teacher or an actor? A teacher or an actor, two options. Here we don't have the particle to, just the simple form or the infinitive form. In this case, it's unconjugated. It's not conjugated. So we use the simple form. So let's read these other examples. Okay, let's read these other examples. They would rather withdraw the product and introduce it in new markets. Remember that yesterday we were studying what to do or how to compete in a saturated market. Allow me to get there. Yes, how to compete in a saturated market, And then we said some things that are really important, strategies that you can take action on, right? So you are making the decision. So you are going to discard the other options and you will follow one, right? You will decide or you will choose one over the others. So this is when we use would rather. For example, if I am going to present my results and my analysis of the PLC to my manager or to anyone, any director in the company, or maybe I'm just doing my job, right, in the correct way or in the best way I can, then I'm going to take the decision in this way, right? I will say, for example, I would rather, okay, I would rather, or we would rather as a company, right? I as a person, we as a company. So I can say we would rather to get the pricing correct, okay? For example, right? It's instead of to, it's just get, right? I or we'd rather, porque I soy yo el que estoy haciendo el trabajo. We, all the company, we'd rather get the pricing correct, okay? And after these statements, you can get a lot of options, right? A lot of options that you can decide, create. So whatever you want to do, it's your option, it's your decision. One of those decisions are like in these examples, okay? You can see these examples as the following strategies or decisions going after the results of my analysis, right? So I will say, for example, they would rather withdraw the product and introduce it in new markets. Many more companies would rather become to the low-cost provider of a product with great caution about what prices. Okay. If you go back again, you will see that after these analysis or these results, right, or according to that, I am making decisions or I'm making suggestions. Okay, I am making suggestions or I'm making decisions, right? For example, the manager would rather ask the creative team to design a relaunch of the product. Okay, many distributors would much rather, if you see there is a quantifier here, would much rather sell our product at a lower price. Many companies would rather operate as a premium option once the product is in the decline stage. So according to your analysis, you will make the decisions, and to express these preferences or what to do, what do you prefer to do, what you are preferring instead of other options or other strategies, then you are going to use this to express this in any meeting, right? Or any results presentation of your analysis, right? This is what we were studying yesterday. We were studying would rather at the, it was the last topic, right? And allow me just to show you the structure here, because if you see, we have a subject, right? In each sentence. What's the subject in number 2? What is the subject in number 2?
It's a plural. Many. Yeah, there are
The companies.
companies.
Exactly. But
Right.
we have an adjective here, or like an adverb that
They.
is affecting, right? Many more companies. Remember the complex subjects, right? These are complex subjects. Remember that, right? But here it doesn't affect the verb, because after rather it goes in the simple form. We're not going to conjugate the verb. Remember that, okay? So many more companies, subject. Then I write in the affirmative structure, would rather, okay? Would rather. And then the verb in the simple form, or in the first form, right? Without the to particle. So then after the verb, we have what we call the complement, right? The complement. Anything else that goes after the action, then it's a complement. And remember the basics for a sentence: subject, verb, and complement. So would rather, it's affecting the verb in the way of a conditional, okay? On the way of a conditional of preference in this case, right? Like preferiría convertirse, ¿verdad? O preferiría llegar a ser. So this is like a conditional, yeah, a conditional, because the action hasn't been made yet, all right? We are just suggesting to do something. We are just presenting that that's the best way to go over or to compete in the market, right? Depending on the stage that your product is, okay? So let's see the number 3. What's the subject?
The manager.
The manager.
Exactly. The manager. So it's he or she, right? Third person. So it doesn't affect the verb, because what is affecting the verb, I repeat, is would rather. Okay. Yes. So the manager would rather ask. Okay.
Verb.
The verb is ask.
Verb. Yes.
Right. Okay. So what is the complement?
The creative team to design the launch of the product.
Exactly. So this is the structure for affirmative. Affirmative using would rather. Okay. Number 4, it says, what's the verb? Let's start by the verb.
Sell.
Sell, exactly. Sell. But we have a quantifier here, right? We have an adverb of quantity, right? Do you see? And it is right between the would and rather, okay? Would much rather. Preferiría, pero así con énfasis, right? With emphasis, we would say much, yeah? As, for example, here we said many more companies, right? Many more companies, they are adding, but it's not affecting the action. It's not affecting the action. In this case, it's affecting the action, right? Over there is affecting the subject, the quantifier, right? All right. So many distributors would much rather sell our product or our product at a lower price. Okay, so many distributors will be the subject, right? Plural subject doesn't affect the verb, because would rather would affect. They will affect the verb, right? So here we've got the other. Many companies would rather operate as a premium option once the product is in the decline stage. Okay, many companies would rather operate as a premium option once the product is in the decline state. All right. What's the subject here?
Many companies.
All right. What's the verb?
Operate.
Operate, yes. And the conditional here of preference would be would rather, okay? Would rather operate. Yes, when someone tells you what's the verb, at the moment we identify this in the form of the verb we are studying that goes right after rather. But if I ask, what's the verb here? What is the action? I would say, which might, I'm sorry, would rather operate, okay? Would rather operate because it is affecting preferiría operar, right? So like two verbs, but complementing one to the other, okay? All right, people. So these were just examples, all right? And here we've got the other way that I was saying that we can express preferences just using the verb prefer. We can use also would prefer, like would rather, and they will be the same thing. But what is the difference there? Just the structure, okay? Just the structure. Because in would rather, we just, the verb just as it is, okay? Without the verb to. I'm sorry, without the particle to. But with would prefer, I would use the to particle, okay? The infinitive. Okay, so for example, let's read number one. Number one. Jose Salvador, can you read number one, please?
I would rather stay home than go out tonight.
All right, very good. So the subject is I, right? Would rather, and then the verb stay, right? Home, then go out tonight. Stay is the option, and go out. Stay home is one option, go out tonight, or just go out is the other option. Okay, then the structure, remember, subject, would rather, then the verb in the simple form, and then we have than, yes? Than. Now let's look at when we just say the one preference, okay? One preference in general. Let's say in general, right? We could say, I will prefer to eat breakfast after 7 a.m. I would rather eat breakfast after 7 a.m. If you see these two, this is the structure we are using here because you're using would rather, right? So number two, it says, she'd rather play tennis than sit here. Okay, the person is sitting and not doing anything, right? So she'd rather play tennis. Maybe she's kind of frustrated, right? Because she's not playing. So you say, or you make the suggestion here, right? She'd rather play tennis than sit here. Okay. Boris, please read number three.
They rather drink tea than cola.
Very good. Than cola. Yes. All right. So we have the subject, they, right?
They
Would rather, contracted, right? And then the verb drink.
drink.
Exactly. But the two options are not the actions. The two options are objects, or in this case, things, right? Things. We can decide for things or we can decide for actions. Your preferences can be actions or they can be objects, things, right? Number four, please, Alvaro, can you read number four?
Number four, I would pardon.
Don't
I
worry.
would rather go by car.
Okay, I would rather go by car. It's only one option, right? Maybe someone asked something in a context, we don't know, but I would rather go by car. It's a decision, it's a preference, right? Thank you very much, Alvaro. Number 5. Number 5. Let's see, Elias, please, number 5.
I rather stay at home.
Very good. And that's stating that your decision is not going out, right? Just, I rather stay at home. Okay. I could say on stay home, but I'm emphasizing that I don't want to go out, right? So yes, I'd rather stay at home. Okay, now number 6, Nelson, please.
Okay, number 6. Would you rather have lemonade?
Okay, here we are offering the other, we could say the hidden option, right? Maybe the person is deciding and then you ask, or maybe she or he is drinking something that they don't like or they didn't like at the moment. So you offer in this way in a conditional form, would you rather have lemonade? Okay. So let's say number 7, Ana Lorena, please. She got frozen too. Okay. All right. Okay. She's trying, right? She's trying. I'm sorry, Lorena. Yeah, number 7. No, actually, now, yes. Now, yes, you are, I mean, we are able to hear you.
Okay. Will she rather come with you that stay home?
Okay, let's refine the pronunciation of would rather.
Would
Rather.
rather.
Yes, and we have to do the voiced sound th, right? The th voiced sound. The. Would she rather? The. Okay, would she rather? Okay, and here it's not us, it's us. Okay, it's nosotros. Yeah, so us. Would she rather come with us than stay home? Okay. And this question we are offering, right? We are offering, but in this is like a conditional, right? And thinking about an imaginary thing. What would be the preference of this person? Maybe you are talking, you friends, your men friends are talking by phone, right? And then you ask for any of the wives, right, over there, yours or his, and then would she rather come with us than stay home? Okay, or maybe your daughter, whatever you want to say, a woman, right? You are talking about a woman. And the preference that she may have or might have if you offer, right, the options. It happens. Number 8.
Teacher.
Tell me.
So pass the list.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay. You ready, guys?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, remember that the requirements from ends of verb are that you must turn your camera on, and when I call your name, you will say present. Álvaro Ernesto Aguilar Peñate.
Here.
Okay. Ana Lorena Lobato Orellana.
Present.
Boris Alexander Cortés Cáceres.
I'm here.
Carlos Alberto Domínguez Martínez.
Present.
Carlos Ernesto Hernández Cepeda.
Present.
Edwin Antonio Quintero Sumaña.
Present, teacher.
Elías Neftalí Martínez González. Eunice Torres Torres.
Present.
Fátima Noemí Umaña Castro. Okay, José Miguel Torres Hernández.
Present, teacher.
Good. José Salvador Bernal Quintanilla.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Josman Atilio Serrano.
Present.
Karen Iset Sánchez Castro. Miss Karen. Not yet? Yes, she's there. She's a listener, right? I think she's a listener, isn't she? Yes, she is. Kevin Alfredo Lucero Menéndez.
Present.
Okay. Nelson Alberto Peraza Mejía.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Rafael Alexander Serna Díaz.
Present, teacher.
Santiago Roberto Calderón Avelar.
I rather.
Okay. Wilber Alberto Pérez Menéndez. Master Wilber, aren't you there yet? Isn't he in? Yes, he
Wilbur
is.
type is the listener.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, people, so let's continue now. Let's continue because we want to do two things today. We want to cover what is missing from the manual activities, and we have some conversations that we want to practice. Also, we want to do the presentation at the end, short presentation. It's not that you are going to do a long speech here. It's just to think about the products, right? And the analysis you did about the product that you decide, okay? So, but the topic for today is the quantifiers, okay? Quantifiers. At the moment, in the examples that we saw, I made emphasis in some of the quantifiers that there were right there. But we are going to see how to use them, but just according to the manual to cover the material. And then tomorrow, Friday, we will do the practice. Okay, we are going to practice all the class, but today it will be more theoretical. Okay. So let's go back and see. We were in the examples, right? We were on the number 8. Number 8. This is the way or the structure for the expressions or the sentences, statements in the affirmative form, okay? To express preferences, just that. So let's read the 4 left, and after we are going to see the negative form, okay? Then it says, my father would rather drink tea than drink coffee. Actually, the first time we can state the action, and the next time we can omit right? We can omit the action and just say the other option, because we know that the coffee, because we know that you drink coffee. It's not necessary that you say drink tea, then drink coffee again, right? You can just say, my father would rather drink tea than coffee. Only the two objects, right? Then we'd say, for example, on number 9. In number 9, she'd rather buy a gold ring than, okay, buy. You may say it or you may not, okay? And it will be okay. Then a silver ring. Number 10, I'd rather resign from my job than take a cut in salary, okay? Than take a cut in salary. I think everybody would rather, right, this. So would prefer not to take this cut on salary, right? Number 11, I'd rather watch a match than go to the cinema. I'd rather watch a match. Watch a match, you know, a match is a partido, un partido, un encuentro de any kind of any kind of sport. So watch a program in the TV, right? Then go to the cinema. Okay, then remember, for the affirmative form, we have the subject, then would rather, then we add the verb in the simple form, and then we have the complement. The complement will be the two options or the different options, the multiple options that you want to offer or that you want to decide or choose, right? What you prefer exactly. But let's look at the boxes right here, okay? We were using these, the second one, right? The second one. So let's see. The first one is when we use would prefer, and they will have the same meaning, okay? So I would prefer to, the verb is the one that changes. So I would prefer to eat breakfast after, say, 7 a.m. I would prefer to live in a safe neighborhood. Even though here we could say safer, right? So yes, I would prefer to sell to another producer, right? And move on. So let's try to transform these 3 first sentences with would prefer, okay? So for example, the number 1, let's change it into these other structure, okay? The first one, the first structure will be, I would rather stay home than go out tonight. So let's transform it. I would
prefer to stay.
prefer.
I would prefer to stay.
Yes, because we are
Home
still in the
than go out
conditional.
tonight.
Yes. We are still in the conditional. If we don't add would, then we are saying that is our preferences, our preference always, right? Because it's in the present tense. But if we add the would part or the would conditional, then you are going to say yo preferiría, okay? In some case, in any case, right? So we'll say I would prefer to stay home, right? To stay home. And in the next one, after done, we can just say without the to. It is not a problem that you just say it with the simple form. For example, I could say to stay home, then go out. And it's not a problem. Instead of than to go out, no. Than go out is better. Right. Okay, then number
Teacher.
2. Tell
Teacher,
me.
I have a question. If I say I will stay to home or at home?
Okay, you could say stay home and it's okay. Stay at home is like you are emphasizing the place where you are going to stay. Okay, it's the same meaning, but with more emphasis, stay at home. Okay.
I prefer to stay at home. It's correct.
Again, I would
prefer to stay at home.
Yes, I would prefer to stay at home.
Stay.
Yes, if we use prefer, if we use would prefer, then we're going to use to,
To.
yes, to the
In-
verb.
It's infinitive.
So
Yes,
it will be
infinitive.
after to.
After
To
rather,
stay. To stay?
I'm sorry, after prefer.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I will try to, okay, I'm going to do it in this way for you to visualize it. Okay, for you to visualize it. Because, where was it? Here. For example, I would prefer to stay. And if you want to transform this one, for example, number 5, to stay at home, okay? To stay at home, like emphasizing that you are going to stay in that place, right? So yes, I would prefer to stay at home.
Teacher,
Tell me.
my wife would rather go to beach than pool.
Exactly, my wife, sorry,
Wife
wife,
would
would,
rather go to beach than pool.
then
Pool.
a pool.
People.
A
Okay.
pool. Than a pool.
Okay. Yes. All right. Yes, it's correct.
Transform is my wife will prefer to go to the beach.
Again, my wife
My wife
would
prefer
to go.
To go.
To the
Yes.
beach than.
Aquí ya
Than
no
a pool.
sería than. Aquí ya no sería than.
Okay.
Aquí ya sería otra vez to. ¿Ok?
To.
Pero también se puede hacer combinado, como decía al principio, combine. You can combine, for example, in this case, my wife would prefer to go to the beach. And again, I'm going to say to instead of than, porque cuando usamos prefer, usamos to en vez de than, okay?
Okay.
So we could also say rather, okay? Rather than a pool. And it's correct too, okay? We can
Okay.
combine, would prefer to go to the beach rather than a pool. Yeah, so we can use that, or as I was saying, you can use to a pool, okay? To a pool, yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, there you are. So my preference is, this is up to you. This is up to you because you can use both. So rather than, I would say rather than, because too much to, yeah, too much twos, or too many twos in this case, because I can count the twos, 1, 2, 3, because they are words. Okay, then, we were saying this one, right? Santiago said it. Did you say the number 2? If I
No.
don't remember.
They said she'd rather play tennis than sit here. She preferred to play tennis than sit here.
Exactly. Pero sería otra vez, rather than or to, okay? Rather than or to.
Okay.
When we
She'd
have two
rather
options.
to play tennis.
No. Wait. She would.
She'd.
Pre-
I say she'd. Okay.
Yes, no problem.
Rather to play.
No, prefer to play.
She'd prefer to play tennis. Rather sit here.
Rather than sit here.
Sit here.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather than sit here. Yes, we can use also to sit here. Yeah. To sit here instead of than. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, remember this is a conditional. Okay, this is a conditional because we're using would. So that slight different meaning to the next verb or to the principal, the main verb, I'm sorry, will be completely changing. Okay, it will be giving you a new or a different meaning, because we are used to say I prefer, right? But if you say I would prefer, then remember you have to use an infinitive after prefer. Okay. At this moment, I think we have done just a little bit of it. Don't worry, we're going to practice tomorrow this. Okay, we're going to practice this tomorrow. But allow me just to show you the way to use the negative form. Okay, the negative, the particle not will be just right after rather. Okay, it follows rather, and the verb doesn't take two either. Okay, the verb doesn't take two either, and it goes in the simple form. For example, I'm tired. I'd rather not go out. Not go out. I think we are used to use not to go out, and we usually make this mistake. So let's try to refine this in this very moment from the beginning for not making that mistake, right? So I'm tired. I'd rather not go out. Okay, I'm tired. I'd rather not. I'd rather not. And it could be also a short answer. Okay, this will be also a short answer. Okay, I'd rather not. Okay, now let's continue. We'd rather not tell a lie. Okay, this is like if we would prefer, or in that case will be we wouldn't prefer to tell a lie, right? So let's look at Sam would rather not talk to him, right? Sam would rather not talk to him. Remember, we don't add the particle to. She'd rather not. Say that again, okay? We add the word not after rather, okay? After rather. Let's try to read this in some way, okay? In some way. And this is religion topic, but please don't get me wrong, okay? This is just to practice. It's not that we are going to talk or to judge your beliefs, okay? We are not judging your beliefs or my beliefs. It's just as a manner of practice, okay? Let's read it. As for you people who keep telling me that Jews control the world, even if that were true, I would much rather that Jews control this world than Muslims any day. And so would every other sane person on the planet. But it isn't true, and I don't want to hear about it anymore if that wouldn't be too much trouble. Okay. Let's go back and try to read it by parts, okay? Let's read it by parts. As for you people who keep telling me that Jews control the world, yeah, that's the idea. As for you people who keep telling me that Jews control the world, then I would say even a conditional, right? If that were true, I would much rather that Jews control this world than Muslims any day. Okay, again, conditional. Remember, this is in a conditional way. Even if that were true, I would much rather, that's the preference, right? This is my decision. This is my suggestion. This is my option that I choose, right? I would much rather that Jews Jews control this world than Muslims any day. Okay, let's go to the next idea. And so would every other sane person on the planet. I am trying to convince you to think just like me. Imaginary or conditionally, right? Conditionally. Then, but it isn't true. What? It isn't true. Is it true that they control the world? Well, but we have the other idea here, right? It is not true that everybody in the planet think about that the Jews control the world, right? And I don't want to hear about it anymore, okay? I don't want to hear about this topic anymore, if that wouldn't be too much trouble. Yeah, as a conditional asking for this favor, please don't talk to me about it anymore. Okay, this is the way to say it in a conditional future, in a possible future way. Okay, in a possible future way, conditional would. All right, so let's look at the questions and try to answer the questions to comprehend better these quote, okay, this quote. So let's read. It says, what does he prefer, Jews or Muslims?
Jews.
Okay, let's try to structure a sentence, okay? Let's try to structure a complete answer, yeah?
Okay, what does he prefer, Jews or Muslim? In the example, I prefer,
Okay.
I would rather verb.
Yes, that's the answer.
It's first person. It's first person.
Exactly, because now we are talking about
What
the
does he
person
prefer?
who is saying
The
that.
question.
Okay. Yes.
The
So
question.
what does he prefer, Jews or Muslims? Okay, then we are going to structure the sentence with the subject, then would rather or would prefer if you want. It's up to you, okay? And in the correct grammar structure, okay?
Yeah.
He
would prefer to be you than Muslim.
Yeah, in this case, I think it is to be
He would prefer
to be Jew.
Yeah,
yes.
to be you. Yes.
To be Jew. I was going to say a Jew, but it's okay, Jew. Okay, without the a.
Yes,
He would
because you don't
prefer
need
to be.
You don't need it plural.
No, I don't need the article. I don't need the
Yeah.
article there.
Yeah.
Yes. So he would prefer to be Jew. Okay, to be Jew. Actually,
Right.
maybe he's not a Jew, and he, in a possible future way, would be Jew instead of a Muslim. Okay, remember that we can think about this with the word instead of. You know the word instead of at the moment, right? Instead of means that this option is not the one that I'm going to choose. Instead of this option, I choose the other option, okay? And that's that. So let's look at number 2. Would you rather be Muslim or Jewish? You. We could say this in like rhetoric, right? Or hypothetical. Don't worry, we are not going to judge you, okay? Would you rather be Muslim or Jewish? Jewish is the same to Jews, okay?
Right.
Right.
It's the same as Jews.
Okay. Response?
Yes, if you want,
Okay.
Carlos, go ahead.
Okay. Number 2, I would rather be Jewish, or I would prefer to be Jewish.
Okay, very good. Perfect. I would rather be Jewish. Okay. If you prefer to be a Muslim, then you could say the other, right? Instead of Jewish, you can write Muslim. All right. Is religion important in your culture? Is religion important in your culture? Now, this is a free answer. Okay.
Maybe yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. What does everybody think? Let's look at Mr. Kevin. What do you think? Is religion important in your culture?
What, teacher, excuse me?
Is religion important in your culture?
In this culture, yeah, it's important. But for me, it isn't important.
Okay.
I prefer to do good things, but the religion for me not isn't important. But
Okay.
the culture, yeah.
Okay, good. Then you decide what structure to use. If you prefer, is that always, right? And that's your decision made in the past, and you live in that belief, right? Now, if you want to say in a possible future or in a conditional, I will say I would prefer to, or I would rather not. Okay, then you can use these to answer this question. Okay, when you compare, if in the culture it is important, but for me it isn't, then you can use these two structures. Okay, so let's do one of them. Okay, let's do one of them. For example, as Kevin said, in Salvadoran culture, it is.
Can I do a sentence with my example?
Yes, sure.
Maybe I can say I prefer. I would rather. I would rather. I would rather do good things than believe religion. Maybe.
Okay, or okay, it's okay. Then in this case, practice. Okay, practice religion. Okay,
Practice.
Yeah, then practice our religion. All right.
It's just an example about the
Yes, that's good. That's good. Okay. So I think we have done these exercises. And is there any questions so far, guys?
No.
Was this topic new to you?
Yes, it was.
All right. All right.
For
You
me,
were
yes.
okay. You will master this with practice. We are going to try this tomorrow again, because tomorrow we have the review and practice of Unit 1, remember. And now we're going to go to, back to the PLC and all that marketing context, okay? And we go to the manual just to see, I mean, we're going to follow the order of the manual, okay? I'm sorry, my tongue got twisted. One second.
On how many hours do you teach every day? Teacher?
Well, it's kind of difficult to explain, but usually about 8 hours, 5 to 7. Well, some days 7 hours, some days 10 hours, some days 8 hours. Okay, and some days only 4 hours. Yeah, on weekends I work only for 4 hours. Yeah. But it's not that. The problem here is that I was not feeling okay. I never say that when I don't feel okay, but today for sure, I assure you that I'm not feeling well. Yesterday I started with this, well, the day before yesterday, I started with some symptoms and something, I was getting something, I don't know what it is, but my stomach is not feeling well. I'm kind of sick, but don't worry, I'm okay.
Yeah.
No problem, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
And all the lessons are in internet or presencial?
I have some brick and mortar, right, in the facilities, and some are online. This is online, right? So yeah, at night usually it's online.
Okay.
Yeah.
To understand you. That's
thank you.
Ask you.
All right, just 1 second. I'm trying to go to the next part in the manual because we have a conversation we want to practice. This is kind of busy, but we're going back to the PLC context. So let's go to page number 12. On page number 12 in our manuals, we have, yesterday we were trying to answer a question about the first competitors. Remember, we were saying that when our company has a first competitor, we have to fight more, we have to create more, we have to go over them, right, and win the race, right, because it's a race. Here is a race in the market, right, and it's a very first competition when we offer a product that many others are offering. Yeah, and let's look at the conversation, and we are going to see how to offer or how to present our suggestions using the would prefer and the would rather, okay? And it says, for example, Rina and Julio are talking here, and they're talking about something that is happening, and they have to take action. Okay, they have to take action. So let's read this, and then we're going to do this true and false, and then we're going to work in our analysis. All right. So the sales in the last 2 months were growing really fast, but now they are decreasing. You're right. Although it is no surprise with this competition, I agree. We must figure a solution to deal with market saturation. Many companies will prefer to withdraw the product, you know. However, we have invested a lot in this product. We'd rather relaunch the product than discontinue it. All right. Take just 20 seconds, 30 seconds to read it. And if you have any question, please let me know. Is there any question about the vocabulary?
What the meaning
Although it's an
Although.
adverb, yeah, it's an adverb, and this is related to discard, or like in Spanish we will say aunque, right? We
Aunque.
despite the other option, right? This and this is happening, but there is other thing that we want to state, right? Although, yeah, like contrasting, right? Contrasting there. Sometimes they pronounce this although, and sometimes they say although, depending on the intonation you want to, or the emphasis you want to apply in that word. Okay. Is this
Repeat, please, pronunciation.
although, although, or although?
Although.
Although. Yeah, although. Here the TH is like a letter D. Although, not
Although.
though, just dough inside, your tongue inside, although.
Although.
So for example, here, you're right, although it is not a surprise.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Is there any other question?
Me,
Tell me.
I don't know what's the meaning of withdraw.
Withdraw, to take out.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. For example, you go to the bank and then you withdraw your money from your saving account.
Ah, retirar.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Decreasing.
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 Yes.
Decreasing.
Decreasing, and the opposite, increasing. Decreasing, increasing, decreasing.
And deal, teacher, deal, solution to deal with market saturation.
Deal is like cope. Do you know cope? Will be like a
Trato.
yes, but manejar, or yeah, manejar, to cope, to work on that thing.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Okay then. All right, Mr. Boris and let's say Mr. Jose Miguel, please role play the conversation.
Okay. Are you ready, Jose Miguel?
It says in the last 2 months we're growing really fast, but now they're decreasing. You're right. I thought it is no surprise with this competition.
I'm sorry, Santiago. Yeah, I know that you were just reading, but please, right now, Boris and Jose Miguel are going to role play, okay? Good.
Okay.
You may start, guys.
Okay. The sales in the last few months were growing really fast, but now they're decreasing.
You're right. Also, it is no surprise with this competition.
I agree. We must figure a solution to deal with market saturation.
Many companies would prefer to withdraw the product, you know.
However, we have invested a lot in this product. We'd rather relaunch the product than discontinue. Discontinue.
Discontinue it.
Discontinue it.
Yes,
Discontinue
discontinue it. All right, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, let's listen to Hosman and Eulise, please. Role play the conversation.
The sales in the last 2 months were growing really fast, but now they are decreasing.
You're right. Although it is no surprise with this competition.
I agree. We must figure a solution to deal with market saturation.
Many companies would prefer to withdraw the product, you know?
However, we had invested a lot in this product. We rather relaunch the product that is continued.
Okay. However, this is the pronunciation. However. Mhm. Sin embargo, however, we have invested a lot in this product, right? In this product. Okay, let's look at I don't know if Edwin, are you available?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. With Mr. Jose Salvador, please role play the conversation.
The sales in the last 2 months were growing really fast, but now they are decreasing.
You're right. Although it is no surprise with this competition.
I agree. We must figure a solution to deal with the market situation.
Many companies would prefer to withdraw the product, you know.
However, we have invested a lot in this product. We'd rather relaunch the product than discontinue it.
All right, discontinue it. Okay, people, now let's say true or false to these statements according to what we read in the conversation, okay? And let's read the number one. Who wants to read number one?
True.
Okay, but who wants to read it?
Me.
We want to practice, okay? So,
Me.
okay, go ahead, please, go ahead.
If a company withdraw a product from the market, not temporarily, they discontinue it.
Very good. Remember that the letter S
Withdraws.
has to sound, yes. And here is temporarily, temporarily.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily. Okay, and you said true or false, guys? What did you say?
True.
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 Okay, because but actually it's not temporarily the clue here, okay? If someone was thinking about that it was false, okay?
It's true.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Allow me just to go. Okay, it was true. Number two, who wants to read number two?
If sales decrease, they stop growing.
Okay. What do you think? True or false?
True.
True. True.
Exactly, right? In the maturity, there is no other way to just receive the same and suddenly you start, I mean, like this, take off, right? Take off the decreasing, right? Or something like this. But take off, it was when it was growing, right? At the beginning. But in the maturity is decline, right? Declining. Okay, if sales decrease, they stop growing. True. Number three.
Rena's first option to solve
It's true. True. It's true.
is to relaunch the product.
It's true.
True.
It's true.
Okay. It's true. That's Rena's
Right.
option, right? Rena's option. Julia's option was a different thing. Okay. So yes, true, true, true. So now let's go and read just a little bit of the grammar here, because grammar is important. Even though we want just to communicate, we need to order words in the correct way. Okay, so look at the examples in the box, then complete the exercises below. Use would rather to express preference. That's the usage. Okay, that's the usage. Would rather plus the base form of the verb. Rather plus the base form of the verb. So here we're just saying that you can contract it, right? It can goes in a contraction. Many companies would rather withdraw the product, you know, look, would rather. But we can contract the noun with the letter D too. For example, Samd, right? Or Kevin, all right? We can do that. Kevin rather, right? So we could say that. We would rather relaunch the product than discontinue it. They'd rather withdraw the product, you know, they'd rather, because there are many companies, right? There are many companies. We'd rather, we would rather, we'd rather. Okay, let me see. Santiago, please read this box, the orange one.
Okay, use the much rather for a stronger preference. This form is more common in speaking than in writing.
Okay, the form of a contraction is more common in speaking than when we write. When we write formally. And remember that we add much rather to a stronger preference. Exactly, and it's much rather. Something went wrong with the art in the labels of the product. I'd much rather hire a different designer. Okay, green tortricas cannot compete with the low prices of other chips. With much rather lower our price. Okay, price here is with the letter C instead of a letter, yes, a letter Z instead of a letter Z. Okay, number 5. Yeah, because price, it's a typo. It's a typo. Okay. Okay, let's order the sentences.
The managers would rather us. The manager will.
No, the creative team.
Would rather.
The would rather us. The creative team to see a relaunch of the product.
To design.
To design a relaunch of the product.
Okay, good. There we go. So number 2.
Many distributors would rather much sell or product at a lower price.
Okay.
Many distributors would rather.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to get the text box here. Okay, because of the format.
We are
I'm
patient.
just checking.
We are patient.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, then what's the subject? Again.
Many distributors would rather much sell our product at a lower price.
Next. What's the subject?
They.
They,
Mhm.
they would rather withdraw the product in new markets than introduce it.
Again. They would rather. Mhm.
In new
With-
market,
Mhm, okay.
They would
No, withdraw the product.
they would
Mhm.
rather withdraw the product in your market
Then
Then
Then-
introduce.
then
okay.
introduce it.
Then introduce it in a new market.
Okay.
In a new markets. Markets. With
plural,
S.
right?
With S. Markets.
Okay, continue. Number 4.
Many companies
Sorry, Boris. Thank you. No, me agarro el text box again. Here it is. Ahí está. There it is. Again, I'm sorry. It was
many
Ajá.
companies would rather operate on the product
As a premium
as a premium option
option.
on the product
once.
Once the
once the product
once
is
the
in
product-
the client stage.
right.
There we go.
Once.
Next. Mhm.
Many more companies would rather become many more companies would rather become the low cost provider
Okay.
of a product with great caution or price wars. Very caution about price wars.
Price wars can eliminate, right?
Yeah.
The companies. Mhm. Okay, is there any question? Is there any question so far?
Teacher,
Tell me.
when the sentences go write down prefer
Mhm.
is not write down than.
When we use prefer.
Okay.
No, when you use prefer, just prefer without would prefer, okay, instead of would prefer,
Mhm.
only prefer takes to instead of than. Okay, for example, let's go back and say one of the examples we saw. Oh, I would say, I prefer to drink coffee to tea. Okay. I don't say than, I say just to. Okay. When I use prefer. But if I say, for example, two actions, different actions, then I can say, I would prefer something, something rather than something, something.
So
Okay.
use rather.
Yes, you use rather, but in yes, when you are comparing, no, when you are discarding the other, okay, discarding the other option. That's what when you use rather than, when you use would prefer, and you are talking about two different actions. Okay.
Where use prefer is not done. Is not used done.
Oh, no, 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 no. Unless you use rather than. You're correct, Carl. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, people. So, well, I was going to take you there, right? I was going to take you there.
Are you okay?
When we have only one option, just say would prefer and you don't use that, right? Estoy buscando los ejemplos en que estábamos en eso. Allow me to get just 1 second. Okay, but remember then when we use would prefer, okay, when we use would prefer, okay, and I say only one thing, one option, I use just the verb with the infinitive form, to eat, to go, to, etc. But if I have two actions, for example, I have, I would prefer two different things will be, I would prefer to drive rather than walking, okay? Rather than walking, yes? Let's say one of this one. Let's say one of this one. I will prefer to sell to another producer and move on, okay? Now, than, yo le puedo poner acá, rather than stay, or rather than, let's say, withdraw the product, okay? Withdraw the product, yes? Two actions, two different actions, then I say I would prefer to rather than, right? Rather than. All right. Good. Now, I was saying, and maybe the confusion here, Carlos and everybody, is when I was explaining about the verb prefer, just the verb prefer, right? Because I was just showing you that you can say this in different ways. So if you can say this in different ways, for example, I prefer something to something. For example, I prefer coffee to tea. Yeah, I'm not saying the action, just two objects, something, right? I prefer driving to walking, for example. But I prefer to do something like to create a new strategy rather than withdraw the product. They are two different actions, okay? We use rather than with two different actions. Got it? More or less.
So.
Okay, I will show you some other exercises tomorrow, okay? We're going to get some more exercises tomorrow. Now, I just want to cover the material in the manual, and then maybe you are going to solve your dots too, okay? So, with the next topic that I want to cover, okay, that we need to cover, is the quantifiers. And the objective to study the quantifiers is because usually we have to express our suggestions saying amount of things, amount of actions, amount of anything, okay? So we need to quantify, right? We need a quantifier. Why are they so important? Why are they so important? We're going to see that there are different quantifiers for the different kind of nouns, because we use the quantifiers to quantify nouns. And we have the countable nouns and the non-countable nouns, remember? So we have different quantifiers. And the, here, one second. And the quantifiers we want to see, and the importance of this is that these words let us express the quantity of something, mostly when we are presenting results after gathering all the discoveries, right? All the results that I want to present to the directors for they to take the decisions, or for me to take the decisions as the manager of the marketing investigation, right? Or the marketing research. So we need to know how to use the quantifiers. So the topic for today is that one precisely. It's how to use quantifiers. This is your class number 4, okay? And let's see that when we present results, we need to use oops, me fui bien abajo, I'm sorry. It's not this thing. Ah, it's in the other presentation right here. So when we use, for example, countable nouns, we have few, a few, okay? Remember those quantifiers? Few, a few. We have other quantifiers for small quantities, and we have quantifiers for big quantities. So this is what we want to try to define today. One sec. So let's go to page number 14 in our manuals. And we will see that sometimes the competition affects businesses in a negative way, But sometimes it affects us to be more proactive, okay? So let's read this conversation. Let's read this conversation and let's practice this conversation because we want to see how to use the quantifiers. Actually, we know these quantifiers, but we want to go to this practice.
Teacher, excuse me.
Tell me.
Can you play the role? Call the... se me olvida la palabra.
Okay, good, good.
Call the roll.
Yeah, call the roll.
Yes.
Yeah, call
Sorry.
the roll. Or roll calling is okay. Yes, it's 9:40 right now. Good. Oh my goodness, you are in. There
The
you go.
attendance.
England punctuality.
Yes. Okay, guys, but okay, are you ready? Are you ready to do the roll calling, guys? Remember that requirements are you have to turn your camera on and you will have to say present at the time that I call your names. All right, ready? Álvaro Ernesto Aguilar Peñate.
Yes.
Okay. Ana Lorena Lobato Orellana. Boris Alexander Cortés Cáceres.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Carlos Alberto Domínguez Martínez. Carlos Ernesto
Present.
Hernández Cepeda. Okay, thank you.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Edwin Antonio Quintero Sumaña.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Elías Neftalí Martínez González.
Present, teacher.
Eulice Torres Torres.
Present.
Fátima Noemí Umaña Castro.
Present.
José Miguel Torres Hernández.
Present.
José Salvador Bernal Quintanilla. Jonathan Atilio Serrano. No, no es Jonathan, I'm sorry. Osman. I'm sorry, Osman. Okay, thank you. Karen Lisette Sánchez Castro. Miss Karen, you there? Are you there? No, I don't think she is, right? Is she? Isn't she? Yes, she is. Kevin Alfredo Lucero Menéndez.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Nelson Alberto Peraza Mejía.
Here.
Rafael Alexander Serna Díaz.
Present, teacher.
Santiago Roberto Calderón Avelar.
Here I am.
Okay, Wilber Alberto Pérez Méndez. Sorry. Méndez. This is a listener, right? All right. Let's go to page 14, and there we have a conversation. We want to see how the how the quantifiers work in a simple conversation. Okay, just using them as these kind of adjectives of quantity, right? But for small and for big quantities. Okay. Remember, have in mind, count and non-count nouns. Have in mind that.
Which page is this?
Page 14.
14. Okay.
Yes. Okay, here we are. Here we've got Oscar and Sonia. It's a simple conversation, okay? Did you hear the sales of the green tortricas have declined? I did, and I can't believe it. We worked many hours to introduce it to the market. Yes, I remember. You put a lot of effort in the design of the marketing strategy. I thought green tortricas would succeed with a little luck. I guess I was wrong. Okay, let's go back. Rafael, please, as Oscar, and Sonia will be Santiago, okay?
Okay. I am Oscar.
Yes, you're Oscar. Please
Okay.
role play.
Did you hear the sales of the green tortricas have declined?
I did, and I can't believe it. We worked many hours to introduce into the market.
Yes, I remember. You put a lot of effort in the design of the marketing strategy.
I thought green tortillas would succeed with a little luck. I guess I was wrong.
Okay, so imagine what's happening here. Can you explain what is happening?
The tortillas marketing failed.
Fail?
Fail.
Okay.
Yeah, reached the maturity.
Actually,
began to
it
decline.
says have declined.
Yeah, began to decline. Yes, right.
Okay. Well, maybe it didn't get to the maturity, right? Maybe it didn't grow. It
Yeah,
just
no more,
went
right.
right to the decline stage.
Yes.
Because it says that they put a lot of effort in the design of the marketing strategy, and
Yeah.
maybe it didn't function, right? It didn't work what they
Right,
thought it was
right.
going to be a success.
I
All
see.
right,
Right.
good. Now, Nelson, please, with Mr. Boris. Nelson, Oscar, and Boris will be Sonia.
Okay. Did you hear the sales of the green tortillas have declined?
I did. And I can't believe it. We worked many hours to introduce into the market.
You hear the sales of the green tortilla have declined? I did.
Yes, I remember. You put a lot of effort in the design of the marketing strategy.
True. Green tortillas were subtle with a little look. I was wrong.
Okay, let's refine the pronunciation there, Boris. It will be I thought.
I
Thought.
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 I thought.
Thought.
Esa palabra
thought.
siempre me ha costado a mí.
Yes, it's kind of difficult, but just practice it. It will
I
be
thought.
thought.
I thought.
Yes, it
Thought.
I
doesn't.
thought green.
Yeah, the
I
letter
thought.
U doesn't sound, only the letter O, but with the short sound, thought, okay?
Thought.
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 Okay.
I thought green tortillas would succeed.
Succeed.
So.
Succeed. Succeed.
Succeed.
It's not with the letter U. I just did it exaggerating it, but it is succeed. 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 Like this.
Succeed.
Yes. With a little luck. With a little luck.
With a little luck.
Yes.
With a little luck.
And here it
With
says
a little luck.
I guess.
I guess.
I guess. I guess.
I guess. I was wrong. Okay, people. Now, please, Edwin and Hosman.
Okay. Did you hear the sound of the green tortilla have declined?
I did. I can't believe it. We worked many hours introduced into the market.
Yes, I remember. You put a lot of effort in the design of the marketing strategy.
It's true. Great tortillas will succeed with a little luck. I guess I was wrong.
Wrong. Okay,
Wrong.
here is I thought. I thought. Yo pensé. I thought.
I thought.
I thought. Okay, then. In what stage of its life cycle is green tortillas at the moment?
Decline.
Yes.
Decline. Stage decline.
The stage of decline.
It's sad, yes. It's sad, right? It's sad. And
It's
what
over.
stage, yes, and what stage of the green tortillas life cycle did Sonia invest a lot of effort?
In the mark introduction.
All right. Yes, exactly. Okay, let's see these expressions or Yeah, expressions. A lot of, and then we use an uncountable noun, right? Uncountable, even though we can use it with countables too. A lot of effort. A lot of effort, many hours. Many hours.
A lot of effort.
A little luck.
A little luck.
Yes.
A little luck.
Okay, guys. So we use the quantifiers as an expression. Why expression? Because it's formed with more than one word. Okay. So expressions of quantity needs, they need that you be careful with if the noun that you are describing here in the amount of these objects, things, feelings, or whatever you are describing the amount, you have to check and notice and be careful that if it is a countable noun or a non-countable, right? Non-count nouns use a little, a lot of, some, much, a great deal of, plenty of, we could say plenty of, no. No means nothing, okay? For example, a little time, non-count. A lot of time. Some time. Much time. A great deal of time. Plenty of time. No time. And each of these has a connotation. For example, we say a little time, we are saying a small quantity, right? A small quantity. A lot of, we are saying more, right? Yes, more than enough, right? More than enough. You have like an accident, right? Exceedent, all right? A lot of time. Some time will be just enough, or a quantity that is not much, that is not less than you need, but some, okay? Then much time, it's a larger quantity, like similar, a lot of, okay? Much time will be in a connotation that you have, as I said in the last one, more than enough, right? More than enough, much time, or maybe enough time, right? Enough time, or just a little more time than enough, okay? Much time. A great deal of, a great deal of. Una gran cantidad, okay? A great deal of es una gran cantidad. So plenty of, just like much, okay? Just like much. And then we have no, and no means nothing. Then with the count nouns, we use a few, a lot of, some, many, plenty of, and no. So we've got to be careful that a little and a few are the difference here when we talk about small quantities. But when we talk about big quantities, then we use a lot of, some, much, plenty of, and no. And we can use it also with the count nouns, okay? It's 9:54 right now, so I will stop here, and I just want to hear you with some products that you analyzed, okay? I'm going to choose 3 of you for you just to tell me what were your products, okay? For example, let's choose Jose Miguel, well, Jose Miguel wasn't yesterday, right? Wasn't here yesterday. Okay, Rafael, please, can you tell us about the product? What product did you think? What product did you analyze?
Sorry, teacher, I don't understand.
Yesterday, I asked you guys that think about a product and analyze in what stage of the product life cycle it was. So this is just to, como un sondeo ahorita de qué productos ustedes han pensado ahorita, que han traído el día de hoy, que ya no nos dio el tiempo para irnos al breakout room y hacer la presentación que dijimos que íbamos a hacer, la vamos a hacer mañana. ¿Pensaron
Okay.
algún producto? Did you think about a product?
Well, yesterday I was
As a listener too, right?
trouble. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rafael. I'm
Teacher.
sorry. Okay. Okay, no problem. Who got the analysis? Who did the homework?
I was here yesterday.
Were you? Oh my God. So Rafael wasn't
Tuesday.
you.
Tuesday, I
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. All right, Jose Miguel, did you analyze any product?
Well, I really don't understand so much the homework, but I was searching about a product and out of the market actually, and I remember a toy, the talking Elmo.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why the product was retired of the market, because that was a very good toy. Withdraw, correct. I don't remember why it dropped, because that product was very, very funny, very simple, and I think that that characteristic of the product was that make the toy very interesting for the kids.
Do you remember when did they introduce this product in the market?
I remember they introduced, well.
When did they introduce this into the market?
Ooh, 2000.
All right, and okay. So did you acquire that product?
And that time, yes.
Okay, yeah, all right. This is why you have that in mind. Good, very good, very good. Is there anyone else who wants to share what product did you think? What product did you think, guys? Okay, I will switch into Spanish for you to understand better what is the idea or the objective of this homework, okay? Bien, la idea de esta tarea era que ustedes buscaran un producto y lo analizaran de acuerdo al ciclo de vida del producto, the product life cycle, I'm sorry. Ya se me está pegando. The life cycle. Entonces, ustedes iban a definir en qué etapa estaba este producto, ¿sí? El que ustedes habían elegido, ¿sí? Siempre lo vamos a hacer mañana, así que solo estamos fogueando, ¿verdad? Observen un producto, analicen en qué etapa está, tráiganse listo eso, ¿verdad? Si está es nuevo en el mercado, si está ahorita en auge de moda, está growing in the growth stage, and si por ejemplo, bueno, usted puede decidir entre uno, ya un producto de mucho tiempo en el mercado, puede decidir entre uno, pasan competidores, pero se mantiene. That's maturity, ok, no pasa de la maturity. Bien, y luego, si el producto ya declinó, hicieron un relanzamiento, etcétera, lo que usted observe, ¿sí? El producto que yo les traía para mostrarles el día de hoy era acerca de Kodak. ¿Sí? De Kodak, ajá. Porque ellos tienen tuvieron, ¿verdad? Producción de cámaras, producción de todos los insumos para la fotografía, pero dadas las circunstancias todo cambió, ¿verdad? Yo se los voy a mostrar mañana, pero ustedes hagan su análisis de un producto. ¿Ok? Hoy sí. La idea es que cuando nos vayamos al breakout room, lo que vamos a hacer es, ustedes se van a contar qué producto, deciden entre los productos que ustedes traen, uno. Y ese van a presentar acá para todos. ¿Sí?
I got it.
Good, good. Bien, es que todos cuando empecé a preguntar se me escondieron en las cámaras, chicos. No sean así, hombre, no sean así. Yo dije, ¿qué pasó? ¡Ah! Todos desaparecieron. Tembló quizás y todos se fueron. No, hombre, si es que todos así, rapidito. Uy, estoy molestando. I'm just joking, guys. All right. Mañana tenemos entonces la pura práctica, ¿verdad?
Ok.
¿A quién le toca el día de hoy, chicos? Sería a don Carlos, ¿verdad? Carlos Alberto, ¿se quedaría el día de hoy? Do you want to stay? Do you have questions?
Teacher, ¿lo podemos cambiar para otro día?
Sure, no problem. Is there anyone else who wants to switch with Carlos Alberto? Solo uno, por favor. No se me amontonen, se traba la aplicación de Zoom. Ay, no.
What is there to eat?
I'm sorry?
What is that there to eat
Okay,
today?
well, actually today we have only salutaris, I think. I will share my, con suerte, I will share my salutaris. Oh, va, pues le vamos a dar Coca-Cola, pues vaya, hoy sí.
See you later.
Okay, see you, Boris.
Yeah, bye.
See you. Okay, bye.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
See you
See
there.
everything.
Ay, todos van corriendo. Okay, no problem. It's okay. It's okay. Have a very good night.
Teacher, have a good
Tell
night.
me. Thank you very much. And you too.
Teacher, si pasó lista, yo no estuve unos minutitos, pero estaba allí.
Ok, ahorita
Estaba,
lo
pero no estaba.
chequeo. All right. No problem, Jose. Salvador, right. Okay, here it is. Thank you very much for letting me know, Salvador.
Good night, teacher.
Have a very good night, you too. Miss Karen, is there any question that you want to ask?